Knock100 here, and today I'll be doing my honest review of Aquaman. Just got done seeing it with my family, and honestly, I gotta say out the gate, I really enjoyed this film. I mean, no surprise, right? I'm a DC fanboy. A lot of people know this about me, but if you really take that away, I still think this is an overall decent film. Now, first and foremost, the way the film started, I thought was really well done. Where we've already seen the Superman and Batman origin story done to death, we don't need to see that anymore. We already know who those characters are. For this film, because not a lot of people know who Aquaman is, he's always just been this character who's been in the background, a joke character for everybody. I mean, I still have friends who don't like the character and don't like the idea of him having his own movie. But I think it works, especially with Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa pulls off the role so well. And the thing is that it's not even the Aquaman that I grew up seeing so much. Sure, I saw the Justice League animated series, and that I think is the closest representation. But in this case, it's kind of like a mix, but more Jason Momoa's Aquaman. The film starts off really well, as we see in the trailers. Uh, what is it? Queen Atlanta being found by Thomas Curry. They did it so well. They told the story just it was so well done. I really was immersed in it. And then we're seeing Black Manta and his father for the first time, which I expected that in the film. There was no way they could have. If they had not included that in the film, I would have thought, okay, they handled it poorly. Because, I mean, why would Black Manta hate Aquaman other than just hating him? They handled that so perfectly as to why Black Manta's motivations were spot on. I will say though that most of the plot for this film uh, was completely, in a lot of ways, they took liberties from Justice League Throne of Atlantis. Now, a number of people don't want to use that as a comparison, but I think, honestly, Warner Brothers had every right to just look at that story and, like, okay, well, the Justice League aren't going to be in this, so we'll just flip flop different characters, make some new ones, and there we go. We have an Aquaman centered movie. The movie had a nice bit of pace. It didn't feel like it slowed down in any areas. I don't know why people complained about that. If they did have, because they kept jumping back and forth so well. It was, the film felt balanced. Yeah, it was a 2 hour and 30 minute movie, I think. But I didn't feel like there was any slowdown watching it. I wasn't bored. I wasn't looking at my phone wondering what time it was like I would certain films that I just like, oh, it's dragging. No, this film had that right amount of balance that I really enjoyed. The casting was great. The CG was good in areas. There were some areas where it looked bad, other areas where it looked awesome. I did like the Atlantean armors. Not all of them, though. The red one seemed a little too plasticky for my taste. But a lot of the whiter armors, and all that stuff, I thought they looked pretty cool. The ships. The one complaint that a lot of people had was the shark CG from the trailer. They fixed it in the film, and it didn't look the same from the trailer as opposed to on the film when we see the scene where he's at the aquarium. So I'm glad that they fixed that too. Another thing I did enjoy was that they were showing the relationship between Mara and Arthur. They were butting heads. She didn't really agree with him so much, thinking he was a bit of a brute. Um, I will say, if I had to compare the relationship with Arthur and Orm, it was similar to Thor and Loki, but the difference being is that where Thor and Loki were brothers and grew up with each other, there was that love there. For Arthur and Orm, it wasn't like that. Although they hinted at it a bit, where Arthur does say something to him that kind of strikes the heartstrings just a little bit. Um, but I think it was really cool that how they ended the film between the two of them. It was different from Thor and Loki, I will say that, and it really kind of gets to you just a bit. I mean, I have a brother, several, so it's to me it hits home in that regard. Go back to more about Black Manta. They told his story so well. It and the thing is, they say, oh, he was shoehorned in the film, that it felt like he was just put there and he was wasted. I don't see him being a waste. He wasn't a wasted character at all. If you look at Justice League Throne of Atlantis, he was barely in that film, and there was no motivation as to why he was there. He was just there because he wanted to kill Aquaman, even though there was no motivation. And I looked at that film like, yeah, I really like Black Manta. I didn't like how they handled him in that. I thought it was dumb. And they made Orm completely psychotic and no remorse, not for anybody, not his mother, nobody. In this film, Orm had his moments, and it was just how he was raised as for why his motivations were the way they were. And that was it. At least Orm's reasonings made sense. Black Manta's in this film made sense. Um, and they still kept Black Manta the same, where he was a hired thug for Orm, like in Justice League Throne of Atlantis. But in this one, they added more context. He didn't want gold. He wanted revenge against Aquaman, and you'll see why. And it's just, they showed he was mentally unstable. There was something that in the comics that they had as well. So, but again, if not a lot of people know about that, they're just going to think he's just wanting revenge. But they show hints of that. And the emotion behind these characters is amazing. I believed Queen Atlana was in love with Thomas Curry. I love Willem Dafoe in the film. I thought he did a good job playing the mentor-esque character. Now, of course, they couldn't show too much of him mentoring Arthur, but they showed enough, which I think was a nice balance of the film. Dolph Lundgren was a complete surprise to me in this film. Even when I saw him in the trailer, I'm still surprised he's in the film. Even the mermen people, those green people in the trailer. One thing I have to note, that the king of of those people is also the same actor who is the wizard Shazam. So I'm really excited that they kind of just threw him in there as well. So I think that works out perfectly. Um, the whole film is a visual spectacle. It's something to really enjoy and something to I'm most likely going to see it again, especially since I saw it in IMAX. IMAX was perfect. It was amazing. It was well done. Like I said, not everything was perfect. There were some areas where the CG looked like crap, but for the most part, I forgave the film for a lot of its flaws. And a lot of the flaws were, I guess Arthur didn't have too many witty lines. They did cut him down. I wouldn't say that's a flaw, but it's I don't know. It's like I felt like he could have said just a little bit more in the film. It's like they cut down all of his like really loud yelling that he did in Justice League and his one-liners, and they toned it down a little bit. And I don't get where people say the movie was cheesy. It didn't feel like it was cheesy at all. It felt like they were trying to get their point across directly. It didn't feel like that. I wasn't bored with it. I thought it was amazing. Amber Heard as Mara, she was a visual stunning spectacle on her own. Oh my God, she was. I don't see what the problem was with the costumes in the film. I thought the costumes were great. They did their job. The CG, especially with the big war scene that you saw in the trailer, that was awesome. So again, film was pretty good, more than pretty good. I actually, like I said, I loved it. It did what it needed to do, and honestly, had Aquaman came out prior, it probably wouldn't be doing as well as it is now, because I mean, people are going off what they've seen in Justice League, and they just want to see more of this Aquaman, and I think it paid off rather well. I would like to see more of the character. I would like to see where they go from here. I think the DCEU can still survive. They should not just cut things out the way they are, and honestly, they just need to keep going from here. And let's see how Shazam does from this point forward. I honestly give this movie, let's see, I give it a 4. It's a solid 4. I wasn't gonna give it a 3.5, but I watched it and I went in and I'm like, yeah, this was a lot better than I thought. So, yeah, that's my thought. If any of you guys disagree, please comment below, like the video, share it, and get back to me. I don't really care what bad things you have to say. I thought it was awesome. Take care.